hasn't worked in 15 years. He oversees all the kids,
Damn.
but he's the
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the 1% Podcast. I'm your host, Vin End.
and I'm Shane.
And today we are not talking about business being the salt of life.
Actually, we're talking about family, which
Yes.
what does it mean to be the man in the household here? So I usually Vin always has me go first. And like on a small occasion, Vin goes first, and I'm taking the you know the 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 throne on this one here, and I'm going to say, Vin, you're up first. What does it mean to be the man of the house here? For is it like the typical 1950s household in your house? What does it work? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked because, funny enough, this is actually a very big topic and a common topic that I talk about with a lot of my guy clients. I think today, especially, now more than ever, and ladies, you'd probably still appreciate this episode. Guys, definitely listen. But now more than ever, guys and specifically my clients, we're having a lot of conversations around what does it mean to be a man in today's world? Because there are a lot of ways that masculinity is under attack. And it's funny because what I've come to find is that there are all these buzzwords out there, like toxic masculinity being one of them. I absolutely hate that term. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity. There are good guys and then there are assholes. Period. By the way, don't put that piece in captions because we could get banned. Just let that word, you know, blur it out. So, back to the point though. There are no such thing as bad toxic masculinity. Masculinity is either good and present or it's not there at all. Usually the guys that are operating in these lower versions, lower systems aren't exuding masculinity. They're exuding an attempt at getting masculinity. They're trying to be overly dominant to compensate for the fact that they don't know how to be masculine. They're trying to force their will. They're trying to do all of these negative things because they don't actually understand what it means to be a good man in your divine masculinity. And a lot of these conversations that I'm having are circling around, so what does that actually look like? How should a man show up? What I've come to find is that a man who is in his divine masculinity is a man who is a protector. He is a provider. He's the man that will take the bullet for his family. He's the man that would do anything, no matter what it takes, no matter how hard, to make sure that those around him are safe, protected, cared for, and loved. He's not the guy that's going to come home and shut down on his family. He's not the guy that's going to close out the woman in his life. He's not the guy that's going to have no time for his kids. He's the guy that's going to be present. He's going to be powerful. And this is the most important part, that he's the leader. If you are a man and you do not lead, your wife will not trust you. She will not feel strong by your side. She will not feel empowered by you. She will not want to be inspired by you. She will not admire you. And she probably will start to lose respect for you because she doesn't feel that you're grounded and you're a capable leader. That's ultimately why a lot of women tend to choose the men that they choose. Even if the man in that moment is not a capable leader, like I wasn't when my girl first chose me. But if she could see that you have the capability and the capacity, she might push you to get there. And if you're willing enough, you can actually receive that from her, that you're not living in your ego because of your own fragile fears. You can actually also become that man too. So I've come to find that it's about all of the above. It's about having a heart of service, having a sense of duty and purpose and power, and most important, presence, having a strong foundation of leadership, but leading from the heart, not leading from the, I don't know, the rod or the handle, right? It's not about overly disciplining. It's about being a guide and teaching right from wrong, responsibility, values. So there's so much in this, and that's why I love this topic. Because I mean, we look at divorce rates now, they're extremely high, especially amongst entrepreneurs. There was recent research that came out and they found that 50% of entrepreneurs end up divorced. And some people might say that that's not too high, but I actually see that as pretty interesting, because the divorce rate for this one specific category in America is almost as high as the entire national average of all of the categories of America. To me, that's interesting because that really means that there's something going on here. And from my time working with a lot of men and even women in entrepreneurship, I see the same consistencies. The women are fed up with the men who don't know how to lead, who cannot be these capable men that allows them to step into their feminine, their nurturing role, the beautiful empowerment side that is a woman in her femininity. And then the men come home and they're frustrated and they don't know how to lead and they're taking all this stress at work and they're bringing it home with them and then they're reacting. They're not setting the tone or the precedent at home. They're just being reactionary. They don't have time for the kid because they're tired and they don't want to sit there and play because it's a waste of their time. Or the woman has a problem and now I have to deal with that and I've dealt with problems all day. And it's just this hell cycle where the guy's not being that grounded man he needs to be. So I specifically love this topic because even for myself, I've had to do so much work to figure out like how am I supposed to show up as a man, and it's still something that I continue to work on day in and day out because it is a lot of conscious effort because most men aren't taught like to be serving and protecting and providing, especially from our parents' generation. So many of our fathers weren't very present in the home because they couldn't be. They were great fathers because they did what they had to. Maybe they worked 3 or 4 jobs. My dad worked 3 jobs. He really wasn't home a lot. And those moments that I did have with him were super precious, but I was mostly raised by my mom. And so a lot of guys that get raised by their mom wind up having what we call a father wound. And then they might have people pleasing tendencies because that could be a tendency of a woman who's trying to figure out her own femininity and then she passes that on to her son. And so there's so many interesting topics and dynamics that come into this, but I'm aware I'm now on a tangent, so I'll kind of throw it over to Shane. And yeah, I hope that was helpful for some of you guys and gals out there.
I don't think you went on a tangent. I thought everything was very well said. I want to mention a couple things here. It's 2024. Independency with women has drastically changed. The mindset, the ways of the business force, everything. There's a lot more women empowerment out there. So things have drastically changed from, being a codependent in the 1950s, 1960s household. That's, the common expression there. So, our common era there. I met my wife the old school way of picking her up at a bar, and that was 13 years ago. Buying her a drink. She got essentially the biggest thing that won her over is I didn't have my little flip cell phone at the time, so I had to memorize her phone number, and I called her 3 days later. So I definitely believe that there needs to be a man and a woman in the actual household. But I do not believe in codependencies. I don't believe that somebody should rely on the other person for doing something. Now, that being said, my wife is very independent. She is a very strong woman, and she has helped me get to where I am today. And I definitely have to give her credit for that. She's a stay at home mom, and she takes care of our 2 kids, and that's a job that I probably couldn't do. So I have to give hats off to her because that is very, very difficult. While I'm over here working my butt off here for multiple businesses, providing food on the table, while she supports our kids. So I just wanted to point out that it's not that this is very, egotistical or masculine, that I'm working at home. I provide all of the money. So that means that I get to make all the decisions. In my household, that's not that way. It is very equal relationship, and it's very independent. And I think that's what I was attracted to in the first place. I've had relationships where, they relied on me. They relied on solely my decisions. And I don't like that. It's too much attachment. If my wife and I separated, it would obviously be devastating, but both of our lives would be able to continue on, because we're two strong, independent people. And I personally think that's what makes a very great, healthy relationship is
Mm,
that they're two solid individuals giving you input. And that's why I have to give credit to her for me to getting where I am for her. Now,
mm,
back to the masculine side. Ben makes good points. If we're going to go on a date, you expect me to open the door. If we're going to go to dinner, you're expecting me to pay, right? If a guy is acting out and says something to you, you're expecting me to handle business, right?
Right.
Which those are all traits that I'm going to step in. But if I'm going to ask you to clean up or make me a sandwich, I want you to do those things. It's just, I don't see the big deal if this is what you're expecting from me and this is what I'm expecting from you. This is what has to happen. So that's why I want to say what I said in the beginning. But there's definitely a male and female role if we really want to put it there, because I think of those exact scenarios of what plays down.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And I don't disagree. And I think, as you bring up some really good points, I think one of the things that a lot of women, and here we go, I'm going to get called a mansplainer, but I think one of the big things that a lot of women had, tried to fight so hard over was the fact that a lot of men are and have been unappreciative of the team dynamic. And I think that that's a really important point to bring up because if you're a guy and you're just like, I make all the money, I make all the decisions, you just do what I tell you, you're not, again, you're not a masculine guy. You're not a leader. You're just a guy who's overcompensating for his ego and you try to gain control by, or power, I should say, by controlling everything because you are actually deathly afraid of not controlling everything because you don't know how to lead. And you know factually deep down, you're such a coward that you know nobody would volunteer to follow you. That's why you try to dominate everyone because you are
Oof,
not a good, capable man.
going deep right now.
Oh, damn right I am.
going.
Damn right I am. Because I, much like you, have a belief to preserve the nuclear family. And we cannot do that when every woman is out there hating men, thinking that all men want to do is control them by bringing home a paycheck. And they're not
Nope.
willing to participate in the team dynamic of being like a beautiful stay at home mom. I mean, dude, there's so much research out there that even shows like putting your kids in daycare. Like research that has spanned over the course of like 20 something years has shown that kids that are in daycare in their 20s and their 30s grow up with so many more issues, attachment issues, addictions, negative habits, all of these things because you are supposed to have the family units together for an extended period of time. You're not supposed to ship your kid off at a few months old to be watched and raised by other people with different values, different views, different beliefs, all of these things. And it's not a bad thing to have those things in your kid's life. However, when you look at the way the system is set up today, other people are going to be raising your kids longer than you. You're going to have your kids, what, 2 days, Saturdays and Sundays, and maybe sometimes you'll have them for a few hours every night, right? Depending on the age of the kid, they're probably going to go home, really go home and go to bed right after dinner, and then that's that.
I
So
say a statistic real quick that I just watched on Facebook. I'm not a big fan of David Goggins. I just want to put that out there
I love me
because,
some guy. Who's going to carry the boats?
but what he said on this really just put my mind into perspective. The first 18 years of a kid's life, you will see every single day, figuratively speaking, with your kid. That's every single day. From the age 19 until they die, you will not see them for over 1 year. Over 1 year, from 19 till they die. Think about that. Think about how many holidays there are, right? There's 365 days a year.
Hmm.
It's crazy. And it just put that in perspective of like, I need to visit my family more. And I don't want to scare anybody, but it really, that statement right there put things in perspective, especially if you're a family and you have kids and it goes with this daycare. Spend as much time as you have with them, because before you know it, they're gone and you're only going to see them in holidays, right? And other rare special occasions, which is fine. You want them to grow up, you want them to live a life, you want them to fail and succeed and do everything on their own, but just know that after they move out, they're gone.
And listen, not everybody is in a situation like myself. Like me and my girl have already had the conversations. My daughter's not going to school. She's never going to school. It's not going to happen. I don't care how it's going to happen, but it's not happening. Like, she's not ever going to school. She's not going to daycare. She's not going to any of that crap. She's going to be raised by us. I am, however, aware a lot of people do not have that capability. So my advice to you, to anyone who would be saying, the naysayer, like, well, that's nice, Finn, but I can't do that. Great. That's fine. You don't have to. Understand that's my life and I'm capable of that. You might not be. So what I would encourage you to do is I would encourage you to spend every damn second you can present with your child. Put your phone down, turn the TV off, play with them, sit there and play with them. As soon as you get home from work, take a big deep breath in your car, sit there for a minute, listen to your favorite song. I don't give a crap, but the minute you walk in, you are mom or dad. And to the point where, more specifically speaking to the men out there, you are the man. So get your ass in the house and lead. Sit with
Yeah.
your kid and play. Give your wife a big kiss and a hug. Ask her how her day was. See if she needs some help. Don't you dare slink in and use the excuse, I'm tired, I had a long day at work. Boo freaking who? What kind of a leader bitches about their day? Not a good one, not a capable one, and definitely not someone who actually wants to matter to their family. So,
If you really want to put it in more perspective,
yeah,
those kids, who are their leaders? Who are the
yep,
people that they're looking up to? What are
yep,
they seeing? Are they seeing you on your phone? Are they seeing you watching TV and doing nothing? Are you really too tired to play with your kid?
yeah,
I Vin and I aren't perfect, right? We make these mistakes still, but we both actively notice when we're doing something wrong, and we both know that these are our kids, these are our future, these are the people that look up to us. So I could speak off of Vin's behalf because we talk about this all the time. Just
yeah,
be present, be there for your wife, your significant other. This
yeah.
is your family. It's all you got.
And listen, at the end of the day, again, if you can't live the lifestyle where you're able to keep your woman home, and or maybe she doesn't even want to stay home, right? Then figure that out too. Like, figure out how you guys can come together. What does that look like? Just because a woman is powerful and maybe she does want the ability to be independent, and like really independent, not just independent because she has her own stuff, but like independent because she wants to build a business or she wants to be a high powered CEO. Don't forget, at the end of the day, she doesn't want to come home and have to be the man in the relationship either. And I'm not just talking from like the guy's perspective. I work with a lot of very, very powerful women who are embracing the masculine energy because that's what it takes to get crap done at work. But when they come home, they don't want to keep being a man. They want to come home, they want to make 6 to 7 figures, crush it at work, get massive amounts of respect, and then come home and have a man embrace her, and she could just melt and be that woman that she wants to be and be like, oh, honey. Because she's not going to do that crap at work, but she wants to do that at home. So
And I
even if you have that massively powerful woman, don't sit around thinking she wants to be the boss of the house because she's a boss at work, because that's not how it goes. And I've spoken to enough successful women to know that, because the complaint is always the same. Why is it that I'm so successful and I can't find a good guy that's willing to allow me to be feminine? This is like the main complaint. And that's why, and see, I used to think it's shallow that a lot of women want to date a guy that's more successful than them. I'm like, oh, why? Money matters and blah, blah, blah. And the reality is kind of, yeah, because the average guy that makes less than that woman at home, who's not in his grounded masculinity, is intimidated by her. And then she becomes the decision maker, not only at work, but at home. And so they're looking for the guy that can, to some degree, allow them to step into that place of femininity because they feel taken care of, because there's a capable man that's doing more than her, making more than her, and also wants to lead at home. So now, don't get me wrong. I've even asked these women, I said, do you have to meet a guy that makes more money than you? And like 99% of them are open to meeting a guy that makes less. They just don't want to be the men at home, too. So
I
hopefully
can
that's a good piece of advice.
I have a friend that has 5 kids, and the wife is he doesn't work. He hasn't worked in 15 years. He oversees all the kids,
Damn.
but he's the man, right? He's
Yep.
Mr. Fix It. He fixes the cars. He does all the chores around the house. He takes care of the 5 kids, which once again is a very, very tough job. For those of you guys that have kids, you already know what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't, it is tough. It is an all day thing. It's not a break. It's nonstop.
Yeah.
There's no time to think.
Yeah.
Right? When I'm taking care of my 2 kids, I want to put one more thing in perspective. When I'm taking care of my 2 kids, which is 8 months old and 3 years old, I can't think about my business because it's nonstop. You know, asking questions, having fun, going outside, playing with toys, holding the baby, doing diapers, nap, feeding, yada yada. Anyways, that is definitely a way to getting back into it. Of if you have that role is you're gonna go and make the money, then that's it. Keep it at that. There no, it doesn't have to be like as we've both talked about. I make the money, so I make the decisions. I still think that's an old school way of doing it. That's the 1950s male machismo mentality. That's not how it works these days.
Yep.
If you could settle the man and woman relationship, who cares who makes the money, right? As long as, because that's exactly right, man. Women want to be treated like a woman. They want to
Yep.
feel like a woman, right? They want those doors open. They want flowers. They want, even if they're not materialistic, they wanted to be feel loved and nurtured and supported.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that's what the guys want.
Yeah. We just want it differently. Like
Yeah,
men and
absolutely.
women need things differently, and that's
Absolutely.
okay. We're supposed to. But
But
that's
it
a
still
part of
comes
having
down
the
to
team.
love and nourishment.
Yeah. But that's a part of the team, right? And I think that that's the biggest thing is like guys got to stop complaining about bullcrap. Oh, I make all the money. Do you not want to make all the money? Do you not want to be the leader of the family? Because
Right.
if you don't, then don't. But don't walk around like you're doing something amazing because you do that. Because you're not. You're doing what you're supposed to do. That's
Right.
like saying you want a freaking sticker for participation. Like, oh, good job, you did what you were supposed to do. No crap. Like, what is there to celebrate? Go be the 1% of dads. Go be the 1% of dads that
Mm,
actually
I love
does crap, has a beautiful relationship with his wife and his kids, and still kills it at work without bringing that crap home and downing his whole family.
it. Amen.
So if you could do that, you'll be extraordinary and you will deserve praise. But if you're just going to be the regular guy that's going to be like, well, I worked hard and, oh, let's split all the bills 50-50, even if I make more than you. And I don't get why my woman doesn't respect me. Like, I could tell you, I'll smack you over the head with it if you need to. But the reality is, you're not being a good man. So today's topic is being a team, being a good man, understanding how to really show up powerfully and being the man your family needs. Because God knows right now, especially in today's world, the world needs more strong, capable men, especially
Amen.
America. Like there's so much demasculinity going on that we really need some masculinity to come back into society.
And if you really are intimidated by successful women, then I
Work
mean,
harder,
first
work
off,
harder, and shut up.
self reflect. But second of all, then you have to lower your standards. You have to go with something that you feel comfortable with, that you feel that you can be the man without listing things that we just talked about. That's going to be in the back of your mind, like being this alpha machismo, because that's not being a man. That's being a coward.
Well,
Anyways,
guys,
great episode.
yeah, guys, we're gonna cut it here. Maybe the name of the episode is the attack on masculinity, so that we confuse people and they
Yeah.
get we get more views. But it's hopefully this is a wake up call for some people. Hopefully, some women hear this and you guys are inspired by knowing that there are men out there like that, or that you might be with the right guy. Maybe you just haven't figured out how to poke him in the right spot so he wakes the hell up. Because that was the case with me. My woman, I truly believe she helped unlock this within me, and I always tell people the reason I'm with her is because I believe she's made me a better man. And that, honestly, is the biggest pull. Like, I don't care about cooking, cleaning, sex, that stuff, because I get that from any woman. But the woman that pours into the man and helps him become a better man, that's the keeper. That's the high quality, high value woman that men truly need and will hold on to for dear life if you show up that way. And for our guys, remember, just show up powerfully, be strong, be strong in the way that you have a heart of service and want to lead, not strong in the way that you close off your emotions and blah 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 and drink beer and play video games and all that bullshit. So, everyone, thank you for listening today. Please like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, um, send a message to somebody that needs it, and of course, drop a comment. Let us know what you think about the episode and what you think we got right or wrong, and you have a debate with us if you feel like it. We don't care. We're happy to have any and all engagement from you. So, until next time, I'm Vin.
And I'm Shane.
See you later.
Bye, guys.